Okay, back with a special Dream Theater edition of I don't know what I call these lessons anymore. I think they're called just I thought they were called the DW Drum Methods. But I think that's actually wrong. I think it's just Dale Wilson Drums or something like that. I don't even know what my own series is called. That's a problem probably. However, that's irrelevant really because what's most important is this is a special edition of the Dream Theater um, drum edition because I saw Dream Theater yesterday, and actually I'm titling this the Mike Portnoy edition, who I didn't see play with Dream Theater yesterday because I think it was Mike Mangini who, you know, I guess he's really good and all that, so that's obvious. But I think I like Portnoy better. But overall, I've discovered after viewing Dream Theater, and they're passionate fans, and there's many passionate fans, I've discovered that I'm probably more of a prog rocker more than a prog metaler. And I think Dream Theater falls a little more into the dream or into the prog metal category. And I think I'm more of the prog rocker, like the Rush and the Kansas and the old school Genesis and Yes and that kind of thing. I think I'm more in that category than the prog metal category. So overall, it was interesting, and I like the guy's voice. He's got a nice, clean voice. I like those clean voices. However, I don't know, it left me wanting something. And even though we're going to talk about Portnoy, who I actually don't know much about, and I'm giving some tips on some people that I've checked out on YouTube explaining Portnoy some, because he's not someone in my list of drummers that has influenced me much over my 40-something years of playing. But I find that the cool thing is you can listen to other drummers and take things away, whether they're your favorites or whatever. You can still get information from them and learn things from them. And that's the main thing. So you don't count out anybody, as I think we learned from one of my previous lessons when we were listening to Anita Baker songs. So you could see how everybody's got something to contribute. So, but I do want to mention that for me, if I'm looking for a prog kind of song that stirs me up, I got two for you proggers out there. I got a song called Magnum Opus by Kansas. Big fan, about 9 minutes long. Lots of stuff going on there. That's one of my favorites. A little crazy, but I like it. So there's one to check out. And then probably my all-time favorite, I think of it as a prog song, even though it's not, would never fall in the prog category, but it really should. And it's about a 12-minute epic. And not many prog bands have a saxophone, but don't let that scare you. My all-time favorite with crazy time signature stuff and great virtuosic playing would be a song called Tales of Daring, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. See, it's got that prog sound even in the title. Tales of Daring, Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's very proggy back in the day. But it is by the Chick Corea Electric Band. So what you need to do is you need to find Tales of Daring, and you need to play it, Part 1, 2, 3, and 4, in its entirety. And then get back to me. Let me know what you think. My favorite of all time, when I think of intense, sort of virtuosic playing all over the board, to me, nothing, and still, even after seeing Dream Theater, nothing surpasses Tales of Daring, for me. Parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. Got to do all four. Okay, so we're going to talk about some Portnoy-ish fills. I don't know if he's ever played any of these exactly, but as I looked online for some clues into Portnoy, a lot of people talked about Portnoy playing fills in this groupings of 4s and 2s. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 4s and 2s today. First, I got to pull out my sticks. I'm going to pull out my sticks today. I'm going to get ready to play. One thing I realized from watching Mangini yesterday is that apparently to play sort of prog metal, you really need to have either long arms or long sticks. So I have short arms. I do have long sticks. So I'm thinking I put my cymbals up as high as they can go, But really, to really simulate what it should be like, and you really can't even see this because the camera can't even go this high, I really need to be playing like this because I really need to have my arm almost up over my shoulders. I could almost touch the ceiling. If I had cymbals on the ceiling, which I think I might, I have a dome light on the ceiling, which I'm only about, let's see, if I stretch, probably about a foot from hitting. I could almost hit the light fixture. And I think that was a little bit how Mangini was playing yesterday. He had stuff so high, I think if he was in a 10-foot ceiling in his room, he would be close to hitting the light fixture. So anyway, this is not really an exaggeration, other than these sticks are a little big. Really, I could go to the batting cages with these and enjoy some spring baseball because, you know, it is baseball season's upon us. So hang on a minute. The crack of the bat. So at any rate, get your biggest, heaviest sticks, put your cymbals up to the ceiling, and you too could be a part of the prog metal experience. So actually I'm going to put these down. I really don't know why. I really should play with them, at least try. They just don't make as much of a... They just don't quite, it just doesn't work, you know, for some reason. I guess I'm going to have to go the traditional route, so I apologize for that up front. But I'm going to work on my long arms, my long sticks, and my high cymbals for the next video, I think. But until then, I'm going to have to go with the old trusty Dave Weckl sticks, which I think work just fine with either prog rock, prog metal, or pretty much anything that you want to play. But I am going to be playing match grip because I feel a little strange playing traditional grip in the prog metal category. So those of you who can play match grip, go ahead and play match grip. But if you are a traditional grip player, you have to do your best. But since I can do it both ways, I'm going to play match for right now. Okay, so we're going to have all this stuff up on the screen as always. But so the first one that we're going to talk about for you Portnoy fans is this combination. These are all really easy, actually. There's really nothing, and I'm sure he does much more complex things. But it appears to me, from a little research, that he likes to do these combinations of 4s and 2s. Okay, so these are all going to be 2-measure phrases. Okay, and really to play them up to speed, you need to be up around 150, 160. Although he might play them as 30-second notes. So if you play them as 30-second notes and you want to get up to 170, 180, you can set your metronome to 90 and just play everything as 30-second notes. If you're so inclined and you have the mathematical abilities to crunch those numbers in your head. But I'm going to say I probably play them around 170 in your typical setting. So let's talk about 4s and 2s. So you can't see this right now, but I can. But I'm going to have this up on the screen. This first exercise, and I don't recommend counting these in the traditional 1E and a 2E and because I think that becomes too difficult with this phrasing. I think instead you should think of these groupings of 4s right now and 2s. So right now, this first one we're going to play, we have 4 groupings of 4s, okay? And after every grouping of 4, we're going to play 2 bass drums. Now, you're really going to need double bass for this at the speed that they play them, unless you're Dennis Chambers. Then you could pretty much do it with 1 bass if you want, and probably other people, Vinny and some other folks, and Lombardo, you know, guys like that could probably play it with 1 bass. But for us mere mortals, I'm going to have to do it with double bass. So, and I think that's what Portnoy and Mangini also do. Now, I should have dyed my goatee blue because in honor of in honor of Portnoy, but I thought that might be going a little too far. So I'm going to stick with the regular salt and pepper look for me. But blue is kind of a cool look, I guess. If I ever play, you know, at the Chicago Theater, I promise you, I'm gonna put blue in the beard. And since I have a pretty good idea that I'm never going to play at the Chicago Theater, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good bet to make, and I won't have to have the blue. But if I do, I'm happy to put the blue in there. Kind of a common lick, I think this. you do kind of morph into the players that you're listening to. That's why I think it's so important to listen to all kinds of people, because I totally believe you can morph into people. Once you get to a certain ability, you listen to them, you kind of absorb them. It's kind of this osmosis thing. They kind of become you. And as I've been messing around with this stuff, I definitely play heavier. I definitely lose all my jazz attributes when I'm just trying to play this stuff. So that's why it's good to listen to all kinds of people. So anyway, I came up with all this stuff, and I've been playing heavy, probably breaking sticks. I really should get the bigger sticks. Those Van Halen sticks, they're about 4 feet long also, but they're at least thinner. Okay, so we're going to do groupings of 4. We're going to do 4 groupings of 4, and after every grouping of 4, we play 2 bass drum kicks. And that seems to be, as I've researched, a sort of a common thing he does. He does, I'm sure, a lot more, but that's one of the common things. So it's 4 and then 2. That's it. And then he moves them around the drums. Okay? 4 times. And then we're just going to play 2 groupings of 2 snares, 2 kicks, 2 snares, 2 kicks. So it's either 4 snare or tom-tom hits, 2 bass drum, or 2 and 2. Now, there are times when he would reverse that and he'll play 4 bass drums and 2 tom-toms. And that's very cool too. But since I'm not really a double bass guy, I'll save that for part 2 or another episode. Although I'm going to work on my best heavy metal grooves. So that might be coming up. I shouldn't say heavy metal because that's probably insensitive to the Dream Theater folks, but prog metal. Okay. So 4 of those groupings of 16ths, and these are cool for any kind of music. I think it works on your double bass, gives you some creativity, and gets you out of a rut maybe that you're in, because these are pretty heavy duty fills. So 4s of the 16ths with the 2 kicks afterwards, and then we've got a series of 2 on the snare or the toms, 2 kick. I'm going to say snare for everything, just because it's easier. And then we'll orchestrate. 2 snares, 2 kick, 2 snares, 2 kick. So something like this. And that's your 2 measures. So again, not 1-enda, 2-enda, but really thinking about the groupings instead. So we got 4 groupings of 4. And that's it. Okay? You could just hear it right now. You could just see the smoke building. My hair dyed black, because it seems like everybody has to have black hair in Dream Theater, except for Jordan Rudess, the keyboard guy. He's got a white goatee, so he's changing it up a little. So one, pretty easy, and you can work that up faster. So that's the first one. 4 4s, and I would count it with the 4s, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and after that I know I just got the 2s left. And a little trick I think is easy for learning is play each grouping on each tom. So you got snare, 2 toms, floor toms. For those of you who have the traditional setup, I know a lot of people are doing the whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. I'm not a huge fan, but they eliminate this tom, even though it's really my favorite tom. is this tom. It's probably my favorite, even more so than this. But anyway, some people take it out, put their cymbal there. But you can do the 4 beats on each drum, and then you come back and you do the 2s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that's an easy way. The second one, I had a little bit of a cold lately. The second one is going to be similar. We're just going to mix it up. I'm going to do a big flam on 4. And again, I'll have the sheet up there. We're going to start off with the 2s. We're going to go 2 snare, 2 kick, 2 snare, 2 kick. Then we're going to do 2 4s, okay? And then we're going to end it up with, again, 2 snares, 2 kicks, 2 snare, 2 kicks. And then this one ends with a big flam on 4, okay? So it's going to be sound like this. 1, 2. Because I'm a big fan of the flam on 4. That's it. Again, count your phrases, and after the 4s, again, you have the 2 phrases of 2 snare, 2 kick, 2 snare, 2 kick. And that's it. I screwed it up. So that one I really kind of like, the 2-2, 4-4, and 2-2, 4-4, 2-2. I think that's a good one. And then, of course, because I started playing around with these, that's the second one. I started playing around with these, and I came up with my own kind of fill. And I like groupings of 5 a lot. So I did a 4, 4, 4. Okay, so I do 4, 2 kick, 4, 2 kick, 4, 2 kick, and then I do these 5s. I do 3 on the tom, okay, because I really like 5s and 7s. So we keep it even with the 4s, and then I do my 5s, and then we end with a grouping of 2-2, or we can end with just 4 on the snare, or so that one's up to you, because this is my fill, not really the Portnoy fill. So these are the fills that I came up with, because I'm a huge believer in, and I'm going to do a whole video just talking about this, because it's contrary to what a lot of people teach, and I've only been teaching for like 30 years, and had thousands of students at the school and talked to teachers all over. So I feel like I got a tiny bit of insight in this. And I have to admit, I'm a little bit frustrated with the teaching community on this, because I think they're selling you a bad bill of goods here, personally. But I'm going to get into that one later. I'm going to do a whole video I'm not even going to play, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think people make a lot of money and don't give you a lot of content that's really valuable, in my opinion. And what do I know? I've just been doing it for 30 years, and have my own school and talk to teachers every day, and again, thousands of students, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna give you a tiny bit of insight, because I think I'm onto something here, and I don't really care if someone disagrees with me. Okay, because I'm right about this. Okay. But we're going to play this groupings of, so this is going to be 4, 4, 4, okay? And then we're going to go 5, 5, and then we're going to do these 2 2s, okay? So here we go. First the 4s, another 4, another 4, and then these groupings of 5, and then 4, okay? I got to like this. actually my favorite one. And again, I came up with it because I'm not gonna tell you why I came up with it for a reason that you're gonna have to watch perhaps my next video when I rant about the drum teaching industry. Okay, so there you go. I guess 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, and then those 2 2s. Okay. And then the fourth one in the same setting. This one's a little weird. Same thing. Came up with it from doing these patterns. And this one is a grouping of 7, which I didn't realize till I kind of broke it down. So this one's a little different. We're going to do 4 of these groupings. The main thing to think about in this one is the crash cymbal. We are going to crash 4 times. That's going to be the thing you're listening for. When you hear 4 crashes, after those crashes, we're on beat 4, and then we play a 4-ianda. Okay? So again, we're not counting the traditional 1-ianda, 2-ianda, 3-ianda. We're waiting for these crashes. But this grouping of 7 works like this. 2 snare, 2 kick, crash cymbal, and then 2 kick. Okay? So it's... There was the 4 crashes after I finish the lick with the 2 kicks, and then I just do 4-ianda. Okay? So it sounds a little bit like this. Okay? So that's the feel of that one, a little faster and orchestrated. I had a cool pattern worked out. I don't know if I'll remember it. Joe will appreciate that. Hey, what did you just do there? I have no idea. I just did it for the first time. Portnoy time. I mean, once you start playing like that, you just sort of move. Okay, so here we go. Trying to think of the way I did that. Okay, so that's basically that stroke sped up. I'm going to do it again. I don't know if you do right, left, or left, right. I guess it's up to you. Forgot it. Okay, that's the 4. I'll put the sheet up for you. Again, the first one is those 4 groupings of 4 with the 2s in between. The second one, we start off with the 2s, 2, 2, 4, 4, 2, 2. The third one, my favorite one, I might have to do that one again because it is my favorite one, with the 5s. I mean, those 5s just sound awesome. You do 3 5s and you had a, let's see. it's hard to get out of there with the 3/5. You just got 1/16 left. Crash. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work. Anyway, but that's a good one. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then the 5s. There. That's a fun one. That is definitely a fun one. Okay, I'm going to put these up on the board. Portnoy-ish fills. Get into it. I wish I could remember the song that Big Joe loved. It was the last song of the night. Pull Me Under. There you go. If you want to hear some good fills like this, I guess Pull Me Under is a good one. Portnoy's got a lot of other bands. I think there's a band called Subterranean. He's got some good fills in. Something about World of Colors. I'm out of breath. I'm not used to pounding like this. What else? World of Colors. Something about Winery Dogs. I don't know if he plays quite like this and all that stuff, but if you like this kind of stuff, he's kind of the guy for it, I guess. But anyway, Tales of Daring, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Don't forget about that one for absolute virtuosic craziness. So, have a good week. Ooh, that made a noise. And check out these fills. Have fun with them. Break them down. Do your own thing. Like I said, my favorite one's the one I came up with the 5s. So come up with your own easy 4s and 2s, 4s and 2s, 4s and 2s. Do the 4s on the kick. That'll be exciting. You know, the old 4 on the kick, 4 on the snare. Kind of a common. And don't forget, put those cymbals up. I can't reach them. Hang on a minute. Now I gotta fix that hole in the ceiling. I gotta go. I think the wife's coming.